So anyway, here today we are in Rio de Janeiro. It is nighttime in the city of lights and festivities. Now today we're actually going to not talk about the lights and festivities, but in fact the corruption and the campaign against corruption in Brazil. Join me today as we look into the records and the past atrocities of the regime or junta as they would call it in South America and see how from 1960 nine, I believe, to all the way to 1985, how the junta has operated and taken funds from the people of Brazil. Now, today, first of all, we have to mention that the United States has sponsored a lot of these regimes and, well, anti communist dictatorships of South America. Just recently in Uruguay, they actually brought back democracy to the country, same as Paraguay and other Latin American countries that you may or may not have known about in history class. Now, today we're going to see. Wait, Army sheets dry? Wait, right. So, today we're going to see if there's anything here today that could actually be responded to and actually done in the Brazilian government today by Mr. Chandri and the other ministers to see and put these people on charges of corruption in Brazil. Now, if you would join me today, ladies, gentlemen, and NB people, we will see what it is like in Brazil today. I have 30 seconds on the clock before we go to the actual documentary. So, today we'll see how Brazil has changed from 1964 and 9, nice, all the way up to 1985. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this feature presentation, and I'll see you next time in some other country. Enjoy. Alright, I could do this. Long before it left office 5 months ago, Brazil's military regime had been found guilty of corruption by the jury of public opinion. Now the supporting evidence is beginning to surface. Almost daily, Brazilian newspapers and officials of the new civilian government have been revealing details of kickbacks, padded payrolls, milk bank accounts, and an array of other illegalities and illegitimacies that apparently flourished under the past administration and administrations. So this month, the new Minister of Industry and Commerce, Roberto Guzmão, announced that 3 entire government agencies dealing with coffee, sugar, and tourism will be dismantled because they were riddled with a high degree of corruption. President Joe Chandre has also pledged an implacable battle against the corruption and has clamped down on the high salaries, rent-free homes, executive jets, and other government finance privileges that senior officials are now found out to have had as much as 21 years of, losing them under military rule. Little legal action is seen though. But although the public's initiative and verdict on the past is being confirmed by these facts, the revelations appear to have been essentially and pretty much for political purposes of underlying the perils of authoritarianism, rather than pressing the legal action against these people. As a result, many Brazilians remain skeptical. They suspect that, for fear of alienating the armed forces, the government will not clarify some of the most notorious scandals under the Estado Novo, pretty much. They also seem convinced that no key figures of the former regime, either military or civilian, will end up in jail, so far at least. They will not be surprised if they don't. The quandary of how to deal with the past abuses of power is common in other Latin American countries that are recently returning to democracy or have not seen democracy since the late 19th century. In Argentina, for instance, former military rulers are being tried for their role in the disappearance of thousands of purported leftists, and the Uruguayan Congress is similarly investigating past human rights abuses. But in Brazil, with a 1979 amnesty benefiting both the former terrorists and the security forces blamed for the murder and torture, the main unresolved issue is corruption, and this, the new government argues, should be handled democratically through the country's courts. Although, in the experience of many Brazilians, however, corruption in the country's legal system is in itself a major obstacle for the application of the actual law. Most judges are like auctioneers. A respected businessman. Most judges are like auctioneers. A respected businessman said. That's how cases are resolved. They sell the verdicts off to the highest bidder. 4 judges suspended. This month, 4 bankruptcy courts. This month, 4 bankruptcy court judges are suspended by a special tribunal on charges of committing irregularities, in what is the first time in recent memory that judges have been penalized, although it is unclear whether they would face any criminal proceedings. A still more publicized case involved a well-known businessman and banker, Mario Garniro, who had been charged with embezzling the huge private Brazilian Veste group that he headed. 5 months ago, the new finance minister Francisco Donelles declared that Mr. Garniro should be in jail, but this has not occurred and the case is still moving slowly. As a result, trial by media has become a popular method of dealing with the past. This week, for example, the Rio de Janeiro Daily O Globo carried an 8-column headline declaring that the former Justice Minister, Ibrahim Ibi Akil, has been linked to a case involving contraband semi-precious stones and emeralds sent to the United States. The evidence that it offers, though, however, is scanty at best. Similarly, several other former ministers have already earned solid reputations for corruption through denunciations publicized and published in the press. One has even been nicknamed Mr. Templecento, referring to the commission he reportedly received on major government contracts, but none has been formally charged. A clampdown on rackets within the social security system, however, did lead to the arrest of several hospital administrators. The new Minister of Social Security, Waljan Perez, recently said that the system's financial deficiencies and deficit have been sharply reduced by the elimination and eliminating much of its internal corruption. Publishers' killing investigated. The longest-running drama since the military regime stepped down involved the investigation into the 1982 kidnapping and the killing of the magazine publisher Alexandre Baumgarten, his wife, and their boatman. 1 year after their deaths, documents left by Mr. Baumgarten reveals not only that he had received financing from the regime's military and main intelligence body, the National Information Service, in exchange for publishing pro-government articles in his magazine, O Cruzeiro, but also that he feared for his life. Despite this revelation, no judicial authorities seem willing to pursue the case. In recent months, however, a determined district attorney, Ivan Vaquez, has resumed the investigation, with the press duly reporting a growing body of testimony suggesting that Mr. Baumgarten was killed on orders of the Information Service itself. A retired general, Newton Cruz de Oliveira, who until recently a year ago was military commander of Brasilia, had been identified by witness as a participant in Mr. Baumgarten's kidnapping and even killing. Although, coincidentally and of course, he has strongly denied these charges. Anyway, this has been the 18th of August 1985. I'm your host, ENN for ENN Tonight. I hope you enjoyed and I hope you learned something. Ladies, gentlemen, NNB, it's been a pleasure being your host. And until next time, we'll see you on ENN. Have a good night. Live from Brasilia, this is ENN signing off. And thank you for our correspondent, Vinicio. We'll play Call of Duty. No, we'll play Battlefield Hardline again, brother. Again.